Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Columbia and the South Carolina State House on a very special day for the people of the Low Country and for the state of South Carolina. I'd like to introduce some people to you, and I'll try to do this quickly so we won't be tied up with formalities long, but you know, nothing of this magnitude just poofs and is there, and there's some people who have worked very hard to make this happen. And I can tell you, I'm a lot more nervous today than I was 2 years ago. I was just as laid back 2 years ago as I could be, and I'm up here now, my knees are rattling. But I would like to introduce the group of people that I call the most dynamic organization in the Low Country of South Carolina, and that's the Jasper County Historical Society. And we are honored to have a good many of them present today. And I would like for you to, when I call your name and introduce you, please stand up and remain standing until I get the entire society on their feet. We can give you a round of applause and then be seated. So I'd like to recognize President Sharon Ryan Shea. Sharon. Vice President Rita Livingston. Treasurer Tommy Rhodes. Secretary Jill Wilcox. Jill, come on up so they can stand with the officers, if you would, please. And I would also like to introduce the Board of Directors. Steve Roundtree. Steve with the red jacket on. Steve, come around and stand with the rest of the people. Steve is a former president, and I think he served 3 or 4 terms as president. I love Steve's sense of humor. I can tell you, he's good. He's good. Joey Boyles. Joey, there in white. Milton Woods. Milton, come on up and stand with the crew. Honey Johnson. Oh, Honey couldn't make it. Haywood Pinckney. He's a 1944 model. You know what that means? Me too. And Sybil Hollingshead, and I think Sybil had a doctor's appointment and she couldn't make it. And of course, everybody knows why we're here today, and of course I have standing to my right General Lloyd W. Newton and Mrs. Eloise Newton. Mrs. Newton, thank you for being here. I know that most people call him Fig, but I was a grunt, which means I was an enlisted man, and I spent a lot of time in the jungles of Southeast Asia, and I know my place. And I have a difficult time calling a 4-star general Fig. So I'll stick with General Newton if it's just the same with y'all. Now, the Columbia branch of the Jasper County Historical Society, I'd like to recognize a couple of ladies who sort of greased the tracks to help get this thing done today, and that would be Caroline McKissick, who is a special assistant to Government Master. Caroline, she's in the back there. And she's in charge of making the setup today and also the order of the Palmetto nomination packet. And then Nancy Bunch. Nancy, are you here? Or is she moved? Yeah, Nancy. She's a special person in Columbia who helped us with General Newton's nomination. And Governor, I am so honored and pleased to have you here today. I commend you heartily for your love for the people of South Carolina and especially its Low Country. And I want you to know that the Low Country of South Carolina is well represented here today. I see people, and this is kind of getting personal, but there are people here today that I have loved all of my life, and I'm crowding 80 big time. So that means I've known most of y'all for that long. And there are people, and you know who you are, that I have loved for just 20 years. And I feel just as close as to you all as I do to people that I've known all my life. So thank you so much for moving to the low country of South Carolina. And I tell you, when they sent Arthur, what was the guy's name that came? Tommy, you remember? The guy's name that came to tell us what was going to happen when Sun City came to the low country? Jackie Gleason. Yes. They sent Jackie Gleason, not Ralph Crandom, not that one, but they sent Jackie Gleason to tell us, and they fed us barbecue and everything, and to tell us what was going to happen when Sun City came. Well, I can tell you that's been a good day in the low country, the life of the people who live, who were born and raised there, because some of the greatest people have moved in our area. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you came here because you moved to the low country of South Carolina, thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Historical Society. We are here today to honor one of our own whose life serves as an inspiration to all of us. He is a classic example of the fact that time, patience, and perseverance, and a great attitude accomplishes all things. It was the consensus of the veterans who met in Ridgeland a couple of months ago that his book, Living the Dream, which tells of General Newton's tremendous courage, provides a great example to all who will read it, or if you've heard his story. We are privileged to know General Newton personally and call him our friend. And today is but another chapter in his story of what happens to the dreams and aspirations of a promising young Jasper Countian when his country calls him to serve. Thank you, General Newton, for allowing us to share a small portion of your history. Your story, your life, renews our allegiance to the United States of America. Thank you so much. Thank you. At this time, thank you. That was about twice as much as I intended to say, but you probably knew that was coming. I used to be in politics. I saw the error of my ways, though. Okay, General, Governor.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Sauls. Those of you just standing back can come a little closer if you like. We're not going to keep you too long. Y'all come on up a little bit, a little closer, so we want to see you as well. A little closer. Come on around. Come on. All right. Well, y'all, thank you for coming to your beautiful state house. We're glad you're here. Martin Sauls, thank you very much for those words and introduction. We're privileged to have the First Lady, my favorite wife, Peggy, of 45 years, General, 45 years, yeah, that's right. But this is a beautiful state house, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud of everything about South Carolina. When I go around the country, I always try to have my shoes shine and stand just a little bit taller because I'm representing the great people of South Carolina. And that's what it's all about. The most recent evidence of that for years since I've been dealing with it firsthand is the people from around the world that are willing to bet their reputation and the future of their company on people, that is, people working in their companies. They're coming from all over to South Carolina. They could go anywhere, and they come in here. And that's one reason General Newton, there was another General, Mark Clark, who also was four-star general and later president of the Citadel, said there's more patriotism per square inch in South Carolina than any place in the world. And we have come from, over the years, starting way back from different places. We had the Native Americans already here. I think there are about 41 of those nations. came from, I think, is 14 West African cultures and 8 or 9 European countries. Anyway, we all came at different times, different conditions, and we've gone through everything that there is, from war to hurricanes to different conditions of living and everything. And we have emerged with other people coming and joining us, as Mr. Sauls mentioned, into having the kind of people. It's the people that other people who judge us from afar. They're not biased by any kind of local conditions or relatives or anything else, but they look around the world and they say, we want to be in South Carolina. So that's quite something. And one of the reasons is because of the man that we're here to honor today. And that is, I can't call him Fig Newton either. It's going to have to be general for me. But I presume that most of you know these facts, but I'll recite most of them, not all of them anyway. And he was born in 1942 in Ridgeland, grew up on a farm. Now that, in my experience, that always helps somebody in having their feet fairly planted on the ground. He's here with his wife of 31 years, Eloise. They have a blended family of 3 sons, 2 daughters, 7 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren. I presume they're still counting, so that's good. But here's some background. 1966, a BS degree in aviation education from Tennessee State University in Nashville. He was commissioned as a distinguished graduate through the ROTC program. Then 1978, I can't read all this, so I'll have to skip some of it. The Armed Force Staff College in Norfolk, Virginia. Then in 85, the Industrial College of the Armed Forces in Washington. 1985, a master's degree in public administration, George Washington University. 1987, National Security Senior Executive Course at Harvard in Massachusetts. But look at this. In 1968, he served as a fighter pilot in the Vietnam War. My calculation is, General, you're about 26 or 27 years old at that time. Flew 269 combat missions in Vietnam. In November of '74, he was selected to join the U.S. Air Force Aerial Demonstration Squadron, better known to us as the Thunderbirds. And if you've seen those pilots and seen those planes, you know that it takes quite a lot of discipline and skill to do that. He was about 32 years old, and I believe the first African-American Thunderbird pilot. 1978 to '82, he was assigned to the Air Force Congressional Liaison Officer with the U.S. House of Representatives in Washington. At that time, my calculation is he was about 36 and stayed there 4 years to about 40. Commanded 3 wings, an Air Force division, and held numerous senior staff positions. Served as the Director of Operations, United States Special Operations Command. Culminated his Air Force career as a Commander, Air Education and Training Command, where he was responsible for recruiting, training, and education for all Air Force personnel. By the way, I had another general say to me, it was off the record, not in an official speech, but you know the military have quotas. They must get a certain number of people from certain parts of the country. Can't get them all from one place. But he said if he could fill the whole thing up with people from 5 states, including South Carolina, right around us. There's something about the people that have lived here. His command there consisted of 13 bases, 43,000 active duty personnel, and 14,000 civilians. I won't go over all his pilot ratings, his dates of promotion, but it went straight up, starting 2nd lieutenant in '66 and 4-star general in 1997. After retiring from the Air Force in 2000, General Newton served as Vice President for International Programs and Business Development for Pratt & Whitney, military engines in Connecticut. In 2005, President George Bush appointed him to serve on the Defense 2005 Base Realignment and Closure Commission. President Barack Obama appointed him to serve as Commissioner for the White House Fellows Program. In 2018, he became a founding member of the Polaris Technical Charter School in Ridgeland, South Carolina, sticking to the emphasis of his parents on education. And the school, as you know, serves K through 12 students in the Low Country and is tuition free. In addition, various boards, commissions, the South Coast Cyber Center, the University of South Carolina Beaufort Education Foundation, the National Business Aviation Association, and all sorts of other things, and too many awards and recognitions from the military to mention here. But the thing that strikes me, and I believe you, it's always about the people. And here is a young man growing up, I presume not in great wealth, on a farm in Ridgeland, South Carolina, that's now gone all the way to the top and done everything in between, including not only bringing great honor and pride to the people of our state, but helping the people of our state and beyond. And when I find people that are interested in educating the young people, we all know that they understand the importance of the future of our state and where our future lies. So we have, in South Carolina, we have a recognition. It is the highest honor that we have, the highest recognition. It's called the honor of the Palmetto. And you can't apply for it. You can't buy it. The legislature cannot endow it. There's only one way to get it, and that is to be recognized and recommended by your peers and organizations and people who believe that you have rendered the highest service, not only in your occupation, but otherwise to the people of our state and represented us at the highest levels. It's called the honor of the Palmetto. And so at this moment, I would like to present that to General Newton. General? That's what it looks like, and I'll read it. State of South Carolina, in grateful recognition of contributions and friendship to the state of South Carolina and her people, I do hereby confer upon Lloyd W. Newton the Order of the Palmetto with all the rights and privileges appertaining thereto, signed by me, Henry D. McMaster, your proud, happy governor, on behalf of 5.2 million proud, happy South Carolinians. Sir, thank you. Thank you, General. Congratulations.
Wow. Well, Governor McMaster, thank you so very much for your gracious words and the recognition and support that you've given here today. I'm deeply honored and extremely humbled to be standing here and to receive this prestigious award. I want to thank you for trusting me with this honor and taking the time to make this presentation. So, sir, thank you so very, very much. And thank the First Lady for coming as well. Really appreciate that. This extraordinary award, the highest one, as was mentioned earlier, to be given to a civilian by the governor in the state of South Carolina, was initiated originally by a governor by the name of John West. Now, I met Governor West when I was about a colonel, when he was the ambassador to Saudi Arabia. I went over, I was working in the Congressional Liaison Office at the time, and I took a congressional group there and I met the ambassador. Well, let me tell you, it was an exciting moment when he says, oh, by the way, I'm from South Carolina, and it was just a great time to be with him there in Saudi Arabia, and certainly he did some extraordinary things, not only for the state of South Carolina, but for the country as well. I can assure you, as you well know, that this award wasn't earned by me alone. For whatever I may have accomplished in my career and in my life, I had a lot of help. As a matter of fact, some would say he probably needed a lot of help. And so there are, first of all, it was my family, and then there were many, many others that helped me along the way. And many of them are here today. I want to offer my sincere thanks to all of those who, many took long distance to drive from the Low Country and other places around the state to be here, and for that, I'm deeply indebted to you. So thanks so very much for taking that time. I want to first say thanks to my family, and some of them are sitting here on the first row. because in our family, when one is recognized, then everyone is recognized in the family. And so they've stood by me, supported me, guided me, and if you talk to them, probably many other things along the way over this many, many years. All of that got started, obviously, with my mom and dad, John and Annie Newton, who also grew up in the Low Country and taught us as children many, many things. And as the governor mentioned, being on a farm, you tend to improvise, and you have to. But mom and dad taught us a couple of things. Number one, that education was extremely, extremely important. And most of all, they taught us the golden rule. And that has carried us for a long, long distance, and particularly me during my career. As I mentioned, we have some of my family here. First of all, my wife Eloise sitting here on the front row, who has worked to keep me on the straight and narrow, and I recognize that gets to be difficult sometime, but she's been successful in that call. And then my brother Marin, next to her, Reverend Newton, who received this very award in November of 2021. Now, he claims I'm always trying to catch up to him, so this is one more step in that process. And then our youngest brother, Don, Colonel Don Newton, and his wife Jean, my sister, sitting here as well. I have some others that are standing in the background. I have three nephews back there. One of them is Major United States Air Force, Don Newton II. And then there's Stephen Newton, another one of my nephews there, and then there's John Newton. So I want to thank all of them for taking time to come. John drove all the way from DC to come down. I don't know whether it's because he wanted another meal at his parents' home or whether he was just coming to see me. Next, as was already mentioned, I certainly want to say thanks to the Jasper County Historical Society. You have worked so hard, so diligently to make this happen, particularly the president, President Shea, and the vice president, Livingston. They gathered all kinds of information, put the documents together, presented it here in Columbia at the governor's office, and pulled the whole thing off without me knowing anything about it. Anyway, for you and the entire team, thank you so very, very much for honoring me in such a prestigious way. Really, really, really appreciate it. And then, again, as I mentioned, we have folks who traveled for a long distance. For instance, Mr. Martin Sauls, who you heard speak earlier, he's been very, very instrumental in not only this award, but many other things that happen in Jasper County and in the Low Country. And I keep telling him, I love meeting him on these kinds of occasions, vice his other profession that he's in. Now, again, I see a number of my friends and colleagues from around the state, and I certainly want to say thanks to each of you. And I can't call you all by name, so if I don't call your name, please do not hold it against me. We do have to give this place up sometime soon. And so, but as I look around, there are certainly folks here from Jasper County and Ridgeland and Coosawhatchee and Gillisonville and Grays and Beaufort and Bluffton and Hilton Head. As a matter of fact, the co-author of my book is here also, here with her family, her husband Pat, and then some of the children and grandchildren, and that's BJ Hill sitting right over here, and BJ has been very instrumental, again, in helping me to prepare the book and get it on the market. So BJ, you and your family, thanks so very much. Then we have elected officials. I understand that Senator Bright Matthews could not make it, but she sent a rep anyway. I just want you to say thanks to her. We have Representative Bill Hager here. From Ridgeland, we have Councilwoman Barbara Clark from the Jasper County Council. We also have from the Town Council, Ms. Josephine Balls and Mr. Tommy Rhodes. Ms. Margaret Bostic is here from, she is the county clerk of the courts. And so you definitely, if you live, anywhere around where court is going to be taking place, you always want to know the county clerk, okay? So we get to know her quite well, and we try to keep that on very good basis when we're going in to chat with her. So again, I want to thank all of you for taking the time to come and share in this experience with myself and the Newton family. Now, I've had a very long and rewarding career in the United States Air Force. But in recent years, I've been much more involved in education, which is another one of my passions. As I mentioned, my mom and dad really taught us that we need to appreciate education. And of all of the other things I've done, it is this work that I hope will be the legacy of Fig Newton. And Governor, I want to thank you for the emphasis that you have placed on education here at the state level, for instance, and your leadership in that regard. For instance, increasing teachers' pay and funding across the board for education. So I can't tell you just how important that is to us down in the Low Country. So thank you so very, very much for that. As mentioned earlier, I helped with a group of other outstanding folks down in the Low Country to launch a charter school by the name of Polaris Tech. And we are about to enter into our 5th year at the school, right there almost in the middle of Ridgeland in Jasper County. And our mission is all about unleashing potential, cultivating aspiration, and graduating students who are focused on their careers and college ready, and that they're invested in the community. Some of our folks from the school executive director, Kim Statler, is standing over here with a number of her colleagues. Some of my board members are here. So again, when they heard about this great big deal that's going to take place in Columbia, a lot of folks showed up, and I very much appreciate them. And I want to say thanks for the noble work that you do there with our youngsters. What they're all about is really transferring knowledge to young people in Jasper and surrounding counties so that they can grow up and be productive citizens, not only in the local area, but at the state level as well as the nation. And I noticed a little bit earlier, our superintendent of the district, Mr. Chris Neely, is here. I want to say thanks for the great support that we get from the district as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I hope that this work will be my legacy as a member of this state, as a citizen of this great country of ours. And what this award that I'm receiving today, I don't want that to be about Fig Newton. And Governor, what I plan to do is to use that and see can I continue to inspire young people so that they can rise, they can reach, rise, and soar to their greatest height that they possibly can. I tried that and it works very, very well, as a matter of fact. I am a true believer that with God, family, any and almost everything is possible. Without it, little is possible. That is why I'm so passionate about education. Once again, I want to thank all of you for coming and sharing this terrific moment with us, and Governor, a big thanks to you as well. Thanks so very much.
This is the work of a lady who lives in the Low Country outside of Ridgeland. It's a crab platter, and her work is, I'm sure you can tell by looking, is highly sought after, and she has a great deal of difficulty keeping up with the people that want to purchase her art. And we want Governor McMaster, if you would, Governor, come on up here. We want you to remember, Ms. McMaster, You probably have more to do with this than he will. We want you all to remember, I don't know what the future holds for you, Governor, but we have great expectations for you. So we want you to take this with you wherever you go. And on the back, it's inscribed, presented to Governor Henry McMaster by the Jasper County Historical Society, July the 12th, 2023.
Thank
So
you.
use it in good health.
And I recognize the crabs and the oysters from Pawleys Island.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all so much for being here. This has been such a great day until the pen, right? The pen. Your presence here has made this really special. So thank you for coming. It's been a great day for all of us. And we want General Newton to be recognized as a recipient of the Order of the Palmetto. So the Jasper County Historical Society has purchased a pin for him that says Order of the Palmetto, State of South Carolina. It's got the state seal on it. And you notice I said South Carolina, not South Carolina like we say in Jasper County. So, Mrs. Newton, would you come up, please, ma'am? And let's pin them. I know you're used to pinning on stars, but maybe we can make do with this pin.
I can do that.
Good, thank you, ma'am.
That's almost like a fifth star.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank you very much. Please be careful going home. Thank you.